Sunday morning breakfast thoughts. Well, I'm in the middle of backstorying my villain in my third novel, which is practically finished now, but it just needs this tidying up a bit because my villain, he's called Granda, he's the heroine's great-grandfather. He was two-dimensional. He hadn't got any nice bits, and villains are no use whatsoever unless they have some nice bits. They just don't work. They look like cardboard cutouts. So I've been working on what can be nice about this man, because otherwise, I must admit, he's a real piece of work. He's just not a nice person, and he can be very scary, which is of course all part of the story. So, what did I do about it? Well, last night I watched something that I think is beautifully written, beautifully plotted and beautifully acted, and that's Alec Guinness's Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Now, the villain in that, Bill Haden, is, well, the character who plays him is good-looking, suave, quite sensual in a way, very controlling, and yet he comes in, you first see him, he comes in balancing this teacup. It's beautifully staged, and he's slightly humble, slightly deprecating, and he has that sort of half underneath the eyes smile to the guy next to him when he sits down. And it really gives you a feel that, you know, this guy is quite nice. They started it off well anyway, in that the other three guys who come in, they sort of come in and they don't talk to each other and they just sit down. They don't even look at each other. But this guy, Bill Haden, the villain, he comes in and he's slightly humble and he's slightly deprecating. And he smiles. And it goes on like this. He has no big sort of deal, no big deal thing that makes him nice. He just feels like a nice person to be with. And yet, when you come to the end, you realise just how ruthless and narcissistic and selfish he is. He's willing for all of his ideals, which he's completely OCD on, and for himself and what he believes is right. He's willing to sacrifice his friend. And he sacrifices him not in death. That would be easy. He sacrifices him by getting him shot, getting him crippled for life, getting him tortured in Russian jails and things like that, really horribly. And then he doesn't get him killed, he brings him home. And the man has no life. And the man is told, here's £1,000, which was a lot of money in the late 60s, early 70s when this is set. And go away and forget everything. It's all over now. Go and make a new life. Get well, be well. But Bill Haden never sees him again until the very end. He never goes to visit his friend. He never goes to see him. Well, how can he? He was the sacrifice that enabled Bill to do what he wanted to do. And yet, Bill is such an attractive character. Everybody likes him. Everybody thinks he's a real hero. Everybody thinks he's wild, he's way off the cuff, he's out of the box, he's all that stuff. But when push comes to shove, he's dependable, and he does it. And he does. At the very end, Gwillem, that's George Smiley's sidekick. George Smiley, Alec Guinness, is the hero. Gwillem is sitting there in Smiley's living room saying, you know, despite everything, I can't help thinking of Bill with affection. He was our hero, us young blokes. you know, before your time, after your time rather. He was our hero. We all loved him. We all wanted to be like him. And he was. He was wonderful. And yet, he could do all this. He was not a nice person. So, how does this work for my Sunday morning thoughts? Well, it really helped me with Granda. It really helped me find things that he did nice, find ways that he was nice to the heroine, Jan, find ways that she could, I can't believe this guy has done this to me, which is what she feels at this particular point in the book, and always after that. I can't believe this guy. He wasn't like that. He wasn't really like that, was he? It was like a dream, the nasty things that he did to me. And then, no, it was real, wasn't it? And the love that he put into her, she says, it's still there. It got right into my bones. I can't let go of it. And of course she has to, which she does, just about, with a great deal of hardship and hurt. So what is it about the nice bits in Villains? Well, Smiley says to Gwilym, after Gwilym has said that he can't help thinking of Bill but with affection, Smiley says, that means you've grown up. And I like that. I read quite a lot of sort of mystery detective-y type of stories, adventure-y stories. And usually the first one that I read of an author, often his first book, or her first book, that's quite good. And I read it all the way through, and I may only skip the odd paragraph now and again, perhaps. And then I try book 2. And I find I'm skipping more. And then I try book 3, and I find, do I really want to get to the end of this book? Do I care? And why is that? Why is that? It's because the hero and any other established characters that keep on turning up, they don't grow. They still have the same problems. They still have the same fears. They still have the same thoughts. They keep going round and round and round like the hamster in the wheel over the same old problems. And that's boring. You know, it's like when you live with somebody or you're friends with somebody and they're still the same. After 20 years, they still have the same relationship problems and the same money problems and the same house problems and whatever else kind of problems they have. And they don't grow. And all of us like to watch someone grow. I suspect because we all like to grow inside or like to feel that we're growing inside. When we get the same thing happen again and you go, my God, here I am again. Oh, no, 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 what am I doing? Well, hopefully you say that. Hopefully you say, what am I doing? Because then that's a chance for you to change. And change is a fundamental of life. Everything changes. No moment is ever the same as the next moment. And we can never go back to normal. We can't reverse time. We can't go back to how things were. Things are not that way anymore. So we need to continuously grow, and we need to be content with that and happy with that. And I love this. And when I get my clients in with me, it's absolutely gorgeous because they come because they want to grow, because they want to change. Now, I like the same thing in a book, in a novel that I'm reading. I like it in a film. I try to do this in my own novels. And I try to show that I'm changing in my own books as well, that I'm not still in the same old, same old. Maybe some people don't. I was thinking about that this morning because 2 authors that I've been reading recently, And they both sell loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of books, masses of books. And every time, with both of them, I've read the first book and I thought, oh, that's good, that's fun. I quite like this bloke. I quite like this woman. Quite like this character here. And then I read book 2 and it goes, well, yeah, God, he's doing that again. Oh, she's still in that state again. And I start to get a bit bored. And then I try book 3 and it's same old, same old. Character hasn't grown. None of them have grown. They're still going round the same blimmin' hamster wheel. I like my characters to grow. Now, part of that means that I have to write, if I was writing a series, which I may well be at the moment, I have to write a lot of backstory. I have to know them really well. I have to get into how they got to be where they are at the moment and remember where they were in the last chapter, the last novel, and see how they're growing as they go forward. Or else they're just going to stand still in the same spot. Now, some people don't like that. Some people like the same old sticky bun, day after day, the same old cupcake or whatever it is that you like. Exactly the same with the pink icing on top and the cherry. And they want the same one, the same one, the same one every day. Maybe this is so. Maybe this is why these people sell so well. Because they're talking to people who are addicted to whatever their character is. Their lead character, their protagonist. And they want more of the same, more of the same, more of the same. I don't. I want my characters to grow. Another author that I found her characters do grow, and that's the woman who wrote the Peter Wimsey stories, the Peter Wimsey detective stories in the 20s and 30s and 40s. Now, her hero, you know, he's quite old-fashioned. He's a lord, a peer of the realm and all this kind of stuff. And he's, you know, your posh detective, amateur detective kind of thing. But he's got a lot of backstory, a lot of character in there. He's not simple, he's complex. And gradually, tidbit by tidbit, Dorothy Sayers shows you how he got to be like he is. Now, her other protagonist, Harriet, who eventually does marry Wimsey, she's in a lot of the books going up to the final one, going up to, what's it called, Busman's Honeymoon, where they do get married, and she grows. She starts off, I mean, she's feisty, she has a difficult time, she nearly gets hanged for murder, all sorts of shit like that, which is great, but she doesn't stay the same. She doesn't have the same old problems all the time. She has new ones, different ones. She grows, she looks at herself, she sees how she changes, she sees how she needs to change, and she makes the effort to do it. And so does Wimsey. So does this, you know, super handsome lord of peer of the realm and posh bloke and all this kind of stuff. But he grows. He is not the same. He changes. His behaviour changes, his feelings change, his thinking changes. I love watching that, so I can read the series. I can't read it properly, fully now, because the language is old-fashioned and some of the style is old-fashioned to me. But it's beautiful writing and it's really well done. But most of all, it's the characters. They grow. Now, I haven't watched Coronation Street for ages, and I never used to watch it all that much, but I have watched it. And like you watch it one year and then you'll come back and maybe watch it a couple of times the next year. And the characters actually have grown. Soap operas are hard to write because you have to keep on doing it every week. And it has to be enough different to keep people interested. And also, I don't know now, but certainly when they certainly started with Coronation Street, and I think still, they want the characters to grow. And the characters change. And the characters are not same old, same old. And I like that. That's where I'm trying to go with this novel. In fact, I think that's where I've actually made it, actually done it. So I'm feeling quite pleased with myself today. That's really good. And it's how I want to grow. You know, yeah, I'm an ancient old bat, crazy cat lady. But I'm not the same as I was last year. I've grown. I've changed. My feelings change. My ways of doing things change. And I think I'm getting clearer, cleaner, more open and more inclusive all the time. Not that I was ever a sort of racist exclusive or anything like that, but I think I get to include more and more of reality every day. And that's great. I like it. I like it in people that I meet. I like it in myself. And I like it in my novels. So please, can we have some more novels where the characters actually grow and they're not doing the same old all the time? I'd love that. How do you feel about it? Do you like that too?